Hi guys, under this video tutorial, we will learn how to add or remove Bootstrap 5 Selectpicker Dropdown Select Box dynamically by using jQuery and Ajax with PHP script. We have already made video tutorial on how to add or remove select box dynamically, but with simple select box, we can get simple select box, so when we have click, it will drop down list of option, and from that option we can select data. But here we will add or remove Bootstrap 5 Selectpicker drop-down box, with feature like live search select box option, so if there are large number of option in select box, then by using search feature, we can easily filter select box option, and select proper data. So for this advantage, here we have make this tutorial, in which we will add multiple item, with feature like Bootstrap 5 Selectpicker select box, with search feature. So under this tutorial, we can add or remove dynamic Selectpicker drop-down list box. Now let's start discussing this topic. So this is our testing database, and under this, we have two table like unit table and order items table. In unit table has two table column like unit ID and unit name, and under this table, we have already inserted some unit data in this table, and from this data, we will item unit select box. Here we have one another table, with name like order items, with 5 table column like order items ID, item name, item quantity and item unit. We will insert data into this table. This is our index page, and under this page, we have already included JavaScript library jQuery link, Bootstrap 5 library, Bootstrap 5 select library and font awesome library link. Now we have moved to write HTML code, so first we want to make one form. So we have type form tag with attribute method is equal to post, and ID is equal to insert form. Under this form, we want to make dynamic input field, for insert multiple item data in single click, so for this, we have create one HTML table, with attribute ID is equal to item table. We will add dynamic item data into this table using jQuery. Under this form we have add 4 table heading tag like, enter item name, enter quantity, select unit, and in last column, we have defined one button for add blank row for enter item details. So here for create add button, we have write button tag with attribute type is equal to button, name is equal to add, class is equal to add. By click on this button, we can add new blank row for enter item detail dynamically. Lastly, under this form for submit form data, we have write input type is equal to submit button, with attribute name is equal to submit, ID is equal to submit button, and value is equal to insert. By clicking on this button, we can insert item data into table. Now we have moved to write PHP code for fill select box with unit data, so we have go to database connection.php file, and here we have write $connect variable is equal to new do class, with 3 argument. In first argument, we have write MySQL host is equal to localhost, database name set to testing, user name set root and password set to blank value. So this code will make database connection. Now we have go to index.php file, and here we have write include statement with database connection.php file, so it will make database connection on index.php file. After making database connection, Now we have create one function fill unit select box with an argument like $connect variable. This function will fill item unit select box with dynamic unit table data. Under this function, we have write $output variable is equal to blank value. Under this variable, we will store unit table data in HTML format. After this, we have write $query variable is equal to select star from unit table and order by unit name in ascending order. This simple select query will fetch unit table data. Below this select query, we have write $result variable is equal to $connect variable with query method, and under this, we have write $query variable. This method will execute query and return data in array format, which store in $result variable. Now for fetch data from $result variable, we have write for each loop, with condition like $result variable as $row variable, so by using for each loop, it will fetch data from $result variable. Under this loop, we have write $output variable, and in this we have append HTML code like option tag with attribute value is equal to $row unit name variable, and in option text also we have write $row unit name variable. This code will make select box with data fetch from unit table and store into $output variable. Now we want to return output of this function, so we have write return statement with $output variable. Now we have moved to write jQuery code part, and here we have create one count variable is equal to 0. Below this, we have create add input field function with count variable as argument. This function will create HTML code for add blank row for item table. Under this function, we have write HTML variable is equal to blank value. After this we have write HTML variable, and in this we have append HTML code like open table row tag. Then after append HTML code like open and close table data tag, and between this we have write input type is equal to text with attribute name is equal to item name, class is equal to item name. Here user can enter item name details. Below this we have append HTML code like open and close table data tag, and between this we have write input type is equal to text with attribute name is equal to item quantity, and class is equal to item quantity. Here user can enter item quantity details. For create Bootstrap 5 Selectpicker select box, we have append HTML code like open and close table data tag, and between this we have write select tag with attribute name is equal to item unit, and class is equal to form controller, select picker and item unit. Here this select picker class will initialize Bootstrap 5 select plugin on this select box. Now in select picker select box, we want to add search feature, so here we have write data live search attribute is equal to true, so it will add search feature in select box. So from this select picker select box, user can select item unit data. And now for fill this select box with value, so we have write echo statement, and here we have called fill unit select box function with $connect variable argument. This function will fill unit select box with data. Lastly, we want to make remove row button, so here we have create one remove button variable with blank value. And below this, we have write if statement, and under condition, we have write count variable value is greater than 0. If this condition true, then it will execute if block of code. Under this block, we have write remove button variable is equal to button tag, with type is equal to button, name is equal to remove, class is equal to remove, and for display minus icon, we have put font or some minus icon code. So when count variable value is greater than 0, then only it will make remove button, so it will not make remove button for first row. Lastly, we want to define remove button, so here we have append HTML code like open and close table data tag, and between this we have write remove button variable. Lastly, we have write return statement with HTML variable, which is an output of this function. Now our function is ready, so when page has been loaded, then one blank row must be added in item table. So here we have write $ with table ID item table with append method, and under this we have called add input field with 0 argument. So when page load, then it will add on blank row in item table. Now we have check output in browser. So friends, here we can see when page has been loaded, then add item details like item name, item quantity has been displayed, but here cannot see item unit select picker select box. So for this, we have go to index page, and here we have write $ with select picker class, with select picker method, and under this, we have write refresh as argument. So this method will refresh content of select picker dropdown. Now we have again check output in browser. Friends, first here, we have refresh web page, and after refresh of web page, here we can see item unit select box has been appear on web page, and in select picker drop down select box. We can see search feature, so user can filter list of option, and they can select option from select box. Now we want to add another blank row, when we have click on this add button. So for this, we have go to index page, and here we have write $document selector with on method, and under this, we have right click event with button class add. So when we have click on add button, then this code will execute. Under this block, we have increment count variable value by 1. Now we want to append blank into item table, so we have write $ with table ID item table with append method, and under this method, we have called add input field function, with count variable as argument, so it will add blank row, for add item details. So here, when it has add blank row, then it will also add item unit select picker select box. So again we have to reinitialize select picker plugin. So here we have write $ with select picker class, with select picker method, and under this, we have write refresh. So here our add blank row code is ready. Now we have moved to write remove table row code. So here we have write $ with document selector with on method, and under this we have right click event with button class remove. So when we have click on remove button, this code will execute. Under this, we have write $this with closest method, and under this, we have write table row tag with remove method. This code will remove particular table row, when we have click on that row remove button. Now we have check output in browser. Friends, we can see when page has been loaded into browser, so we can see simple table heading with one add button, one blank row for add item details and one submit button. Now we have click on add button, Then one blank row has been appended into table with form field like text box, select picker select box and one remove button. So here we can see that, in first table row remove button is not display, but from second row remove button will be display. Now we want to remove this row, so we have click on remove button. So after click on remove button, here we can see that, table row has been removed from table. That means our code is working. So now we have moved to proceed for submit form data. So we have go to index page, and here we have write, $with form ID insert form with on method, and under this we have write submit event. So when we have click on submit button, then this code will execute. Under this, first we have write event.prevent default method. This method will prevent to submit form data. Below this, we have defined one error variable is equal to blank value. Under this variable we will store error messages. And below this, we have reset count variable value by 1. Now first we want to validate all item name text box has been filled or not. So we have write $with text box class item name with each method. This method will check all text box with class item name. Under this we have write if statement, and under condition we have write $this with value method is equal to blank value. This code will check particular text box has some value or not. If text box has blank value, then it will execute if block of code. Suppose text box has blank value, then it will execute if block of code, and under this we have write error variable, and in this we have append error message like enter item name at particular row and row value get from count variable. And lastly in this block we have write count variable is equal to count variable plus 1. Here we have increment count variable value by 1 on every interval. Above code will check item name text box has some data or not. Now again we have reset count variable value by 1. And now we want to check item quantity text box has some value or not. So here, we have write $with text box class item quantity with each method. So this method will check all text box with class item quantity. Under this we have write if statement, and under condition, we have write $this, with value method is equal to blank value. This code will check particular item quantity text box has some value or not. If text box has blank value, then it will execute if block of code. Suppose item quantity text box has blank value, then it will execute if block of code, and here we have write error variable, and in this we have append error message like enter item quantity at particular row, and row value get from count variable. And lastly in this block, we have write count variable is equal to count variable plus 1. Here we have increase count variable by 1 on every interval. After completing this block, now we have again reset count variable value by 1. Lastly we want to validate, we have select any unit from item unit select picker select box or not. So we have write $with select box tag, with name attribute is equal to item unit, with each method. So this method will check all select box with name is equal to item unit. Under this, we have write if statement, and under condition, we have write $this with value method is equal to blank value. This code will check particular item unit select box has some value or not. If select box has no value, then it will execute if block of code. Suppose item unit select box has blank value, then it will execute if block of code, and under this we have write error variable, and in this we have append error message like, select item unit at particular row and row value get from count variable. And lastly in this block, we have increment count variable value by 1. After validate form field, so now we have defined one form data variable is equal to $this with serialize method. This method will convert form data into URL encoded string and store into form data variable. Now we have write if statement, and under condition we have write error variable is equal to blank value. This condition will check if this variable has blank value, then it will execute if block of code, otherwise it will execute else block of code. Suppose error variable has some value, that means there is some field has blank value, so we want stop to submit form data, and display error message. So for display error message here we have defined one span tag with attribute id is equal to error. And for display error variable value under this span tag, here we have write $with span tag id error with HTML method, and under this method, we have write error variable value. So this code will display error under this span tag with id error. But suppose error variable value is blank, then it will execute if block of code, and under this block, we have write Ajax request for submit form data to server. So in Ajax request first option, we have write URL, which set to insert.php, so here it will send request to this page. In second option, we have write method, and in this we have write post, so here it will use post method, for send form data to server. In third option, we have write data option, and in this option, we can define which data we want send to server, so here we have write form data variable in which we have store form data in URL encoded form. Lastly we have write success callback function. This function will be called if request completed successfully, and this function will receive data from server. Under this function we have write if statement, and under condition we have write data variable value is equal to OK. This condition will check if this data variable value is equal to OK, then it will execute if block of code. Under this block, we want to reset form field, so for remove all table row except table header row, so we have write $with table id item table, with find method, and under this we have write table row tag with 0 index with remove method. This code will remove all table row from item table except table row. After this, we want to display success message, so here we have write $with span tag id error, with HTML method, and under this we have write item details saved message. So this message will be displayed after successfully item details insert into table. Next we want to append blank row in item table, so here we have write $with table id item table, with append method, and under this, we have called add input field function, so it will add blank row in item table. After add blank row, now we want to refresh SelectPicker plugin, so here we have write $with SelectPicker class, with SelectPicker method, and under this, we have write refresh. Now we have moved to write PHP code for insert data in insert.php, so here we have write if statement, and under condition we have write is set function with $post item name variable. This condition will check if this variable value is set or not. If this variable value is set, then it will execute if block of code, and here for make database connection, we have write include statement, with database connection.php file. After this, here we have defined $order ID variable is equal to unique ID function. This function generates a unique ID based on the micro time. Below this, we have write for loop, with $count variable value is equal to 0. $count variable value must be less than value of count $post item name variable value, and $count variable value increment by 1. Under this loop, we have write $query variable is equal to insert into order items table, with table column like order ID, item name, item quantity and item unit, with values like order ID, item name, item quantity and item unit. This is insert query for insert into order table. Now we have write $statement variable is equal to $connect variable with prepare statement, and under this we have write $query variable, so this statement will prepare query for execution. Now we want to execute query with data, so we have write $statement variable with execute method. This method will execute insert query. Under this method, we have write array, and array first key, we have write order, and in value, we have write $order ID variable. In second key, we have write item name, and in value, we have write $post item name, with $count variable. In third key, we have write item quantity, and in value, we have write $post item quantity, with $count variable. And in last key, we have write item unit, and in value, we have write $post item unit, with $count variable. So this way, we have store form data, in array format, and this method will execute query, and one by one it will insert data in order items table. After execute insert query, now we want to get result of query execution, so we have write $result variable is equal to $statement variable with fetch all method. This method will return query execution result. Now we want to check data properly inserted or not. So we have write if statement, and under condition we have write is set function with $result variable. This condition will check if this $result variable value set or not. If $result variable value is set, that means data properly inserted into table, and it will execute if block of code, and under this block we have write echo statement with OK. This is the output has been sent to Ajax request. Now our code is ready, so we have saved this code, and check output in browser. Friends, on browser we have already seen simple table with add new row button and remove row by remove button. Now we want to insert item details, and save into MySQL table. So we have refresh browser. After refresh of page, here already row has been appended into table with text box for enter item name, quantity and dynamic select picker select box for select item unit, with search feature. So in item name we have enter laptop, in item quantity we have enter 1, and from unit select box we have search, and select unit. Now we want to add one more row for new item, so click on add row button, and after this in item name, we have enter mobile, in item quantity we have enter 1, and from item unit select box, we have search number, and we have select number. So this way we can enter details of multiple item. Same way we have add one more row, and here we have entered details like digital watch in item name field. In item quantity we have enter 5, and from item unit select picker select box, we have search packet, and select packet. But now we want to remove last row, so we have simply click on that row remove button, and after click on remove button, then that row has been removed from table. Now we want to save this item details into MySQL table. So we have click on insert button, and after clicking on insert button all item details has been saved into table, and we have received item data saved message on web page. So here our code is working on how to add or remove multiple dynamic select picker select box data into MySQL table by using Ajax jQuery with PHP. This type of feature mainly use when in our web application there are more than one data saved into table in single click, and in form field there is select box. Then this type of select picker select box will increase the user interface, so user can search unit from list of unit, and then after it will insert multiple data in database, using Ajax jQuery with PHP. Lastly, if you have any query or inputs regarding this tutorial, you can ask your query in comment box. If you have liked this video, please share with your friends, or even you can also share on social media also. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe our channel for future video tutorial.